Hi guys, and welcome to the Briggs Farmers League. Two very interesting competitions coming up tonight at Bridge Chemical. I am here today with Spads from GAB, and I am Adam Fox, the unoriginal name gamer. Welcome, Spads, and what an interesting night we have ahead of us.
Thank you. Yeah, we've got two really good games coming up tonight. Should be really interesting.
Yes, so our first match coming up, we have JUGA and GAB, the big teams, the AC versus Recursion level teams of the Briggs server, I'd imagine. Everyone's going to be watching out for that one, as well as what could be a very close match as well with the second round with Fifth Column versus RSNC.
Yeah, definitely. The first match is going to be the big one to watch. We've got real big gunners coming out in this one, and the perpetual thing on live, who's the better team out of, Gab and Jugger, it's going to be put to the test tonight. And I think everyone's a bit excited to see who comes out on top on this one, but definitely not taking away from the second match because we've got a team in RSNC who wants to consolidate a win from round one against Soka, and FCLM who wants to come off a really, really almost soul-crushing loss to Jugger.
I've got some interesting quotes here from the Reddit beforehand. A bit of trash talking going on, a little bit of prediction from a few people. So what have we got here? Who will win? The giant autistic Jugger Ghost Cappers or the turbo nerd stat padding Gab meme lords from Alchemy is Fun? Nice little funny quote there. This is going to be one of the most intense matches so far this season from Katarix. Going to be a great match. Best luck to all the players tonight from my concho. Who to watch? Anyone who Big Iron Ranger accuses of hacking from Alchemy is Fun again, with Spads chiming in with pretty sure that's gonna be everyone.
Yeah, everyone's buying in on this one. It's a bit of fun before the match doesn't go astray, and you know all you need is memes. So that's all I'm going to say on that.
Any early predictions on this first match? Obviously, you're a little bit sided towards Scab. I really don't know who. I really want to support Jugger as being my TR, my faction, but I just really don't know.
Yeah, it's tough. It's going to be a tough one to pick. As a Gap person, I'm obviously favoured to want those guys to win, but at the same time, I've seen the team that the Jugger guys are putting up tonight, and that's a really, really scary team with some extremely top flight players on there. Not to take away from the Gap guys, they've put up their A team tonight as well, but just naturally, the team that you play with, you're going to give a little bit less kudos to the guys that literally kill you every single time. And looking at that Jugger team, that is six of the guys that will constantly kill me or any other cab guy with regularity. And they're the guys that you fear coming up against on live. So you step into this sort of situation where it's competitive and everything counts, and it's tough. It's plays with your mind a bit.
Now, obviously, Gab have still got Calipix and Kilios, the big players from the round last week as well, two very difficult people to beat. And, of course, Jugger's got Exocet as well as... who would you pick as like a second from Jugger there? Someone who's
Out
really
of
going to
that list
stand out.
in heavy, it would probably be Cersei, but at the same time, they've subbed in Cracker this time. And Cracker is a really good player on live, but his only downfall really was that he doesn't, from what I've heard, get on comms as much as the other guys. So he's a bit of a mute. So it's in a format like this where your communication's pretty key. That may play a role. Whether he's bought a microphone or got over his fear of talking to his teammates, I don't know. But yeah, the Cracker and Cersei up front will be pretty scary for them, and not take away from Newt, who had a huge showing.
Huge showing last week, yeah.
Yeah, he stepped out from every other infiltrator. He was the sniper for Jugger. While all the other infiltrators in all the other games were putting up zeros, twos, and slightly low negatives, even in the winning teams, he came out with something like with a positive 22 or something, and only died 4 times in the entire match against FCLM. So he separated himself from the pack in that sense, but at the same time, his team up front gave him the ability to do that. So
piping it well. Now, obviously, in this case with Fallbridge Chemical, you've got a very different base to Power Canyon there. You definitely don't have as much long range open area to be a sniper, and having that large open building inside there to have to deal with trying to capture the A point and securing that A point. It'll be interesting to see how he deals with the slightly more close combat sort of situations.
And it's going to come down to whether or not they have control of the point as well, because once you've got the point, it's a very different mindset to not having the point. So you capture the point, and prevailing thought would be you get either 4 heavies up on the walkways, 1 in each corner to cover almost every single door, or you take one of those heavies and you have him roaming around on the point just to make sure it doesn't get a free flip, and then you put your infiltrator up on one of those walkways to cover the door, if he's a good shot. And he needs to be a good shot, because if you miss and then you've obviously got a bolt action in your hand, it's very likely that the person you were shooting at is going to either, one, get to cover in time for you to take the second shot, or he's going to start shooting and probably take down one of the guys that wasn't watching your doorway because you've missed. So it's a tough spot when you're defending. And then when you're on the offense, your role is really limited to putting down your motion spotter and giving your team the intel. And just letting the guys that are going to be pushing in, your Exocet, your Cersei, your Neokora, all of those guys, the intel that they need to make a successful push, to find the chink in the armor to try and push in. And if the enemy team doesn't give you that chink, you're almost useless as a shooter, and unless you can sort of get in the long doors and get a really long range pick off on one of the guys that's been pushed up a little bit too aggressively. But it's going to be interesting. Both Solus and Newt I think are going to be pretty pivotal players on this one. If one or both of those guys have a big showing, it's going to be key for both of their teams.
Now, just jumping over to the actual base, and now that I've got control of the mouse again, looks like TR are going to be starting with the Northern Sundra, with GAB starting with the Southern Sundra. So obviously there's not a big amount of difference like there was with Palm Canyon. For like, they're pretty evenly matched on Sundra placement. There's no extra angles, there's no extra cover. Like, it's almost a mirror image of one side and the other. So it'll very much come down to who has the one-on-one abilities when they push into that point right at the beginning, and who's going to come out with that initial wipe of the point and who can hold on to it.
For sure, both teams will probably have a set play that they want to run at the start, where X push to Y, Z push to X, etc., etc. The problem that poses is that you need to have contingencies in that plan, because it can be thrown to hell if your plan is purely to push one here, push one here, push one here, push one here, blah blah blah, and one of those pieces get taken off the chessboard for random reasons, then you're sort of going to fall short. So they need to be able to adapt, but at the same time you can guarantee that the JUGA guys have got a set play for how they want to get onto the point, how they want to approach the initial capture, and the GAB guys will as well. It's just going to come down to who reacts better, and that's when it comes down to the straight shooting. You're a man down, you need to make a play for your team. Can you do that? And both teams definitely have players that can do that, so it's going to be interesting to see who secures a point, and it's probably going to come down to a bit of luck, all said and done.
That's definitely what we've seen with the first week's rounds as well. GAB and JUGA both seem to be like, everyone's had a good initial push. They've all sort of had their plans for that first attack. It's that working on the fly, working on the fly and actually getting the team working together really well after that initial push, and for the fight back in or for the defense, and keeping that going for the entire 15 minutes of each round. That's what we've seen really well out of GAB and JUGA.
Yeah, definitely, and they're going to need to in this sort of a situation where you just don't know what the enemy's going to throw at you. Your ability to make a play on the fly and react to your enemy is going to be absolutely critical, because you've got to push an advantage in this to get a win. The window that you're going to push that advantage through in this sort of a match, where you're up against a team that's just as good or better than you, is so small that you just need, it's almost intuition that they're going to need to play with, and it'll be interesting to see who gets the better of that.
I'm gonna make a guess here. I'm gonna make a prediction. I think JUGA's probably gonna start with the initial point. They're gonna do the first wipe, and then GAB's gonna push in. And here we go.
We've got JUGA coming out with 5 heavies and an infiltrator. And I believe matched by the GAB guys, although they may have a light assault on the roof. No, they've got push onto the point here.
Very quick. Both teams pushing very quickly for the point. We've only got one JUGA guy up on the balcony on their side. No GAB guys on the balcony on theirs.
Ooh, some critical kills there. Exocet takes down Best, but Solus manages to get the first sniper kill. But Exocet pushes back. The point's just in limbo at the moment. No one can get a clear advantage.
Kilos going for the point there. Looks like I may have been wrong. It looks like GAB are actually going to take the initial point.
Looks likely, and we can see Kilos has secured the point and also picked up 3 of the first 4 kills for GAB. So Kilos initially being the really big playmaker for GAB. He does go down, but does trade with Neokora, so not too bad.
As he's gotten up onto that balcony and taken out Best Assassin. Getting taken down itself by Chris there.
Chris with the distinctive palm camo. He's the one first dropping the Smedbucks on the Jaeger server.
Clearly he's already won just by having the palm camo.
Oh, you never lose when you have palm camo. Everybody's a winner.
Blend into everything, no one can see.
Got a good little push here from JUGA, trying to get back in onto the point, but Best and Flames managed to shut that down. But Pegs gets up onto one of the balconies, and that's pretty critical. We've got Pegs and Newt up on the top balcony for the JUGA guys now. They've got a little bit of control, they need to get onto the point. And they do.
Jersey there going for the point, being really careful about it. Going up head to head against Kilos and getting taken
great
down.
Kill there.
Was re-securing the point. Clearly he's been tasked with that, holding on to the point and that push forwards.
Well, Exocet manages to pick up 2 before he goes down, and then Chris himself gets 2 kills on Neo and Exocet.
Cora getting taken down. Crackers there taking the point. Dodging a couple of GAB guys here. Who have we got there? In Flames and Crackers going at it. Kraken coming out as a winner there. Coming up against Best Assassin now and running for it. And getting taken down on the point. But Best Assassin getting taken out seconds later.
All the while, the GAB guys have maintained control either via Newt or Cersei or a mixture of both of their balcony, of the northern balcony. So they haven't been pushed off that in a couple of minutes now, and that's allowed them to really control the point from a strong position and make it hell for the GAB guys to get back in. Great shot there from Cersei. Followed with Newt I think got a snipe, but Cersei goes down to Flames.
I wouldn't say there's really been a good hold defense for everyone. It's been a really close match from both teams here. GAB sort of pushing for the point now, but holding back from it a little bit.
Yeah, just getting a flick on it. And we're only just at the 2-minute capture point, so they're only just getting it to neutral, but GAB have got 2 guys on points. Looks like one's going to go down though. Best Assassin picking up a kill there.
Cersei completely missing
Not
Best
seeing.
Assassin there.
And Best doing the same. Was just a bit of a comedy there. He ran straight behind him and neither of them looked at each other.
Well, the funny thing about the observer cams, you sort of see how unaware some people can be to things. Even from 2 teams as sort of higher caliber as this.
But importantly, JUGA got the point secure before their man on the point went down, so Best Assassin wasn't able to flip the point because he was pinned down from that northern balcony still. And Newt's just being a menace up there. He hasn't gone down in quite some time.
Or going up against Kilios, getting taken down. And Kilios now going up against who that was. I missed the Q spot, but getting taken down himself from the looks of things.
Oh, he's still up. He picked up Pegs.
Right.
Newt taking down Chris. Great shot there.
Palm camo, you just stand out so much.
Yeah. All of the mistakes in high definition for everyone to see. Solus getting really aggressive, trying to push in onto the point. We've only got a minute left for the GAB guys to try and get a re-secured. Solus gets up an aggressive motion spotter to try and get the guys in there. They get Newt finally, and that's critical. Now Solus can start to wreak havoc. Start to use his range advantage, and he does. He helps Best Assassin take down Cracker, so they completely re-secure that northern balcony. and basically wipe Gabba off.
Very nice push
Jugga off the
point
point.
there. Very nice push from Gab.
Managed to trade 4-4-1, I think. No, sorry, it was 4 for none. 5 for none now as Best Assassin picks up another kill on Neokora trying to get back in on the point. So now the Jugga guys have got to do the same to Gab.
Chris and Best Assassin here on the Jugga's side of the balcony, taking them down from those stairs.
And Newt's starting to get a little bit of the pain that Solus had at the beginning. Solus was hard pressed to get in and was just getting picked off, but it was Solus's aggressive play that got the motion spotter down on the point, made them realise that nobody was close enough to defend it, got their flip on it, and allowed their guys to approach the balcony with a little bit of haste, without worrying about where the other guys were. That allowed them to push in, and that motion spotter is just gone down now, so he has replaced it with another aggressive one up towards the northern balcony. So we get it back to neutral. 2 minutes to capture now, so you've probably got 3 solid pushes to try and resecure.
Peg's getting taken down there. Just as I flew away. That'd be right. And Nakora getting taken down as well by Kilios. Doing an excellent job of holding this point.
GAB guys really, I think they got rustled a little bit scared that they might lose the point capture, and they've come in force. And we see Exocet picks up the first Jugga kill in a couple of minutes, but from the last 8 kills, 6 of them have gone to GAB. Exocet gets 1 more, and we got a lot of trading here. Solus takes down Cersei.
Yep. Is that Cersei got? Chris.
Looked like you got Chris, yeah.
Noticed
So
that
just
from
a bit
the
of a
palm.
back and forth. 1 minute to go, so the Jugga guys need to regroup. They really need to get a game plan going. They need to have a set play in place to try and push in onto this point, because a disjointed push is not going to work against a team the caliber that GAB have put up. They're kind of doing that. They've got Neokora, who's in on the point room, isolated by himself, with Best Assassin sitting over the top of him and knows exactly where he is. He's feeding the intel to his guys, I would hope. And he just goes down and gets him.
Cersei there getting on close to the point, but not close enough, getting flanked around.
And now you probably just need a bit of a desperation push from the Jugga guys, because it's getting down to 20 seconds. You just need to get a body on the point, but I don't think that they're going to do it. No, they're not. Best Assassin manages to put down Exocet, and that's a 6 kill streak for Best Assassin, so he's coming up big.
And there goes
There we have it. So first capture goes over to GAB, but before that, they were really under pressure. So the Jugga guys know that they can hold this point. They just made one mistake, and that was really all it took for GAB to get in, secure the point, and then capture the point. They never lost it once they re-secured it from that sub 30 seconds that Jugga was away from capturing it.
They do still have 6 minutes here, so they could recapture the point theoretically with the time that's left if they did a good push and held it well, like they've done in that initial sort of hold that they had. If they could push it through, they'd get that extra, I think it's 30 points for the enemy capture, so that could make a difference.
That's right, you get an extra 5 points if you capture it once you've allowed the enemy to capture it, so that's a benefit, but you need to realise that it's going to cost you a lot of points just to get in the room, and we're seeing that now again. You know, 2 for 1 there goes over to the GAB guys. Caleb picks him best, picking up kills. Cersei got 1 shortly before he went down, but that was it, and now they're a man down while they try to push in.
Set taking down Solus there.
Did he go down?
Sorry,
I think it was
Solus the other way
down
around.
Exo.
Sorry, I read the kill feed wrong.
Yeah, so we've got Solus has moved out to a 6 kill streak, so he'll be happy with that. He's going to be putting up positive points, and Best Assassin still hasn't gone down. He's up to 7 kills.
This is obviously one of the biggest problems with Fallbridge Chemical, is that pushing back into this A point is very difficult.
It is tough. It is extremely tough, and the Jugga guys will be and really should be kicking themselves if they let this one go over to the GAB guys, because they're seeing now what kind of a strong position they were in when they held the room, and they held it extremely strong. And I don't know what they did wrong, so much as just not covering the long doors when Solace pushed in with the support of one of the heavies. I'm not too sure who it was, but they made a bit of a blunder, and they're paying for it now.
GAB guys, they're playing very smart. They haven't sort of exited the room really. They're just holding the inside, using the doorways as their funneling point. No sort of pushing out, trying to suppress from the roof or anything like that. It's just a hard room hold. Sort of tactics you sort of see from JUGA on live.
It is really, and you know, it's not the play that you see from GAB. GAB's obviously a bit of a, you don't know where they're going to pop up or how many of them there are going to be. But they're sort of, you're right, they're emulating what JUGA do on live, I guess, using their own weapons against them. And we still haven't seen Best Assassin go down, so he's obviously trying to go push Black Bullet for the 13 kill streak. He's up to 10. Someone needs to take him down.
Is he getting taken down there by Chris?
Best is getting aggressive. He just pushed out and took Newt out, their sniper, before he could even get behind the box, behind the jump pad. That's about a half a second walk, and he managed to kill him within that half a second.
At the 3-minute 30 mark now, pretty much like capturing the A point is out of the question. It's really just come down to points now, and GAB are holding a good lead against them, 149 to 78 currently. So JUGA are on the back foot. Second round, they will definitely need to capture that A point and kill a lot of GAB guys to even the scores out a little bit.
Definitely, and JUGA know they can't capture the point now, so they're being smart. They're not going up the grab lift where they were getting picked off by Calipix, who's up on the roof, and Best Assassin, who is just walking around the corner and being a menace. They've gone up the stairs, so they've taken the long road around, but still not really getting them anywhere. They're still giving kills over to the GAB guys. They've not got a kill in 5 kills, although Pegs does pick up in flames, so maybe they can start to wind back the kill score a little bit. They do. Solace is taken down by Cersei, sorry, so it's working a little bit for them. Those 2 kills that they've got, they haven't got 2 kills in a row in 3 minutes, so it shows how much they've been oppressed by GAB's presence.
It's interesting there. Exet and Cersei sort of started out on those stairs together and then automatically split apart and went in different directions. I really would have stayed together and used those 2 guys to sort of push in together and try and take down a couple of other guys. Because you know that they're good players, and Exocet running for it there and getting taken down.
Yeah, and JUGA have no one to compete with Calipix on the roof at this point. From what I can see, they're just trying to get the heavies to lob a few bullets, maybe a couple of rockets up at him. But it's not doing what they need to do. They subbed Rocco out for Cracker. Rocco was obviously their guy who was always playing the light assault in their last match. And it's sort of biting them now in this situation where they're outside of the room, and Calipix knows that he can get control of that roof, and he knows that they've got to go past him to get into the point. Not that they're aiming for it right now in this situation where they can't capture it, but they still want to get in on the point because that's where the GAB guys are that they need to kill. They're really being denied that.
Cora and Crackers both getting flanked by Chris there and taken out on the lower hallways.
Yeah, good double kill from Chris there. Does get punished, but definitely worth it. When you've got a lead like this and you know that you just want to push him a little bit further, 2 for 1, you'll take that any day of the week.
Exocet and Cersei working together again on those stairs, in exactly the same spot as they were a minute ago.
Yeah, there's not too much that they can do here. They're really just held out of the point. They don't want to go in there because they know that GAB's got a defense set up. They don't want to move too far out because they know that they're just going to bleed a few more kills. So they're almost just playing for the clock at this point.
As everyone knows here, both teams have a large amount of pride on the right line here. Both sort of been touting themselves as the top sort of outfits on the server.
And they are, regardless of the result. These 2 are definitely the 2 best infantry-based outfits on the server, just for pure players that want to shoot at other guys. Nothing will change that.
There we have it, guys. Half time. 94 to JUGA with 171 to GAB. Now, having a look at the scores, what have we got here? Exocet, as usual, coming out with the top kills for JUGA there with 13. And the only positive net score as well for the team with 10 there. Obviously, GAB having a higher positive net score for the team points there with Kilios with the top kills with 19 and the top net score as well with 24, going 19 for 7 deaths.
That's right. Some good scores coming out from the GAB guys. They'll be happy and probably expectant of those kind of scorelines. Chris is the guy that you would put up the front. He's got a very aggressive play style, so a zero is not going to really annoy him too much. Flames, exactly the same. Pushes up the front just like Chris, so those two scores don't mean anything to them. Solus picking up 6 is good for them. And Kilos and Best Assassin, who didn't have the best game last week. I think he went negative in the first round. He's showing up big, and he actually did get 13 kills, so he drew even with the monster kill streak that that Black Bullet put up in their last match here. On the Jugger side, Neo, that's going to be disappointing. He's been playing well. Negative 30 doesn't really indicate his level of skill. Negative 10 on Cracker and Cersei. You would expect something like that after getting bullied as hard as they did. A positive 10 out of Exocet is really, it's a bit silly. It just shows how much of a good player he is. So he's very situationally aware of what he needs to do. But at the same time, he just wasn't putting up the total number of kills that he needs to do. So, a bit of work that they've got to do, but they saw there, once they lose a point, they drop their spaghetti. So they need to make this point an absolute priority, and they need to bully GAB back just as hard as they did, and some.
Yeah, that pivotal moment there for that match was GAB pushing in and retaking back that A point. If Jugger had been a little bit more prepared for that and been able to wipe them out again, I imagine they probably would have held the point capture at the very least, and probably held on to the centre of the room for a large chunk of the match, and we'd be looking at a different game here. So whether or not Jugger can do that in the second round and even out the scores a little bit and really bring it down to the skills of the individuals.
That's right, Gab. We're going tit for tat and probably falling a little bit behind from what I was seeing at the start with Jugger when Jugger had the point. The first 5 minutes was really back and forth, but that sort of plays into the thing that Gab were sort of just biding their time until they saw an opening, which is what we said. You have to wait for that window before you push in. You can't just run in and expect to capture the point against a team of this quality. Either of them can't fall into that trap. So Gab bided their time, took negative trades to try and get it onto the point, found a chink, pushed in and captured it, and then never relinquished it. They just absolutely locked it down. And like I said earlier, Jugger will be really kicking themselves for losing that point, because they had it locked down, and they had it locked down well, and they need to realize how and where they let the GAB guys in and make sure it doesn't happen again. They've sort of shown that they can capture the point off the bat in the chaos, but the set play, when they need to hold it, was a bit lacking.
Yeah, and you've got to remember that a certain amount of this is going to be mental as well. Obviously, both teams are really invested in this, really wanting to come out on top to show, because we are expecting that probably this is going to be the finals teams, unless something goes massively different to what everyone's sort of predicting. And so, really, it's can Jugger come back from that first round loss and sort of push past that sort of that sinking feeling in the pit of their stomach, going, "Oh God, we're not doing too well," and fight back, push back, cap the A point, and show GAB what they've got.
That's right, and don't forget that GAB have already beaten Dire, the other team that's expected to finish up the top with some sort of regularity. So Jugger loses here, they've still got to go up against Dire, and they've still got to win that game to sort of give themselves a high seeding. So if Jugger does lose, they sort of put themselves in the pressure situation where they've got to beat Dire to get that second seed into the finals.
Yep. It's the 30-second mark.
But I think either way, Jugger's a class outfit. They'll come out and they'll stamp themselves on this point. I reckon they won't be too shaken up. Not enough to throw them off their game. Not yet. They'll make a good showing in this second round for sure.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Jugga
from the
employing the same
sunroof.
tactic. We've got 5 heavies and 1 infiltrator for Jugga. We've got 1 light assault, which is Calipix, 4 heavies, 1 infiltrator for GAB, so they've changed a little bit. GAB have got 1 less man on the point, Calipix is on the roof. This is where Jugga needs to push.
A few more grenade throws this time round from the Jugga team. GAB going in straight for that A point there.
Cracker just picked off Best, and that was really important that they took him down. They've got control of this point, Jugga.
Calipix there on the Jugga side balcony.
He's just being a menace, they can't.
Flank there, but yeah, no, he's just sort of running away.
Oh, good kill there.
Getting taken down there.
The GAB in all of the chaos, Chris has managed to push on the point and secure it. That shouldn't have happened.
No, Jugga had a good lead there and sort of gave it up, unfortunately, losing obviously too many people.
I mean, they are still up in the kills in this round, so they're doing okay on that front. And Cersei again taking down Sol, so denying GAB that long range opposition, but, you know, still not getting onto the point. And here we go, just flipping now. Neokora gets onto the point.
Pushing for the point there, pushing forwards even more. Having not even bothered to capture the point, have just pushed straight for the GAB balcony there.
No, smart play there, because you want to neutralise the point so that it doesn't capture in your enemy's favour, but at the same time you need to take the control that they have off those balconies. The balconies are critical. The balconies will keep the point for you. You can capture it, sure, easy. Holding it, different story. You need those balconies. So the balconies being the priority, I think, is a good move from the Jugga guys there. I'd agree with that play.
Rightio. So they've captured the point there now. Now they need to get their guys back on. It looks like there's only 2 Jugga guys actually in the A point room here. Oh no, sorry, 3. One hiding behind cover there I didn't see.
Oh, good shooting from Exocet there. Picks off Chris all the way across the room. Didn't even get to the server.
Or they're getting taken down by Best Assassin.
And we can see again the fight isn't for the point. The fight is mainly for the balcony control. Get the balcony control, control the point. So, at that point, GAB just got blown out completely. No balconies, no point. We're down to 2 minutes and 30 seconds, and it will cap in Jugga's favour.
That will bring the scores a little bit closer to even as well. GAB will still hold on to a bit of a lead, but it gives Jugga quite a lot more. If they can hold on that point, we've seen that you hold that point and you can pick off guys as they come back in, use the doors as a funneling point, and you could very well win the second half and take the match away from them.
Dudu picks up a good headshot kill on Chris, but Best Assassin and Callow pick off 2 of the heavies for Jugga, so they've not got a lot of meat remaining in on this point. This needs to be the point where I think the GAB guys push in. But
Best Assassin here creeping for the A point there, but still got a couple of guys up on the balcony there, so he's being hesitant.
Ooh, again, great shooting from Cersei. Picks off Keelos. The Jugga guys with their long range shooting on their LMGs is really impressive.
Flames there taking down Exocet.
We just saw Chris poke up onto the point, get it flipping, stop the capture for the Jugga guys. He doesn't want to capture it, he just wants to stop the enemy capturing it for this point.
Slowing down. GAB pulling back there, obviously to deal with a Jugga guy that was outside flanking them.
And we got the same situation again. That's an absolute wipe. They killed all 6 of them. Calipix picking up 2 kills, Keelos picking up 1, Solace picking up 2, and Inflames closing out the last kill. That's a 6 for none. The GAB guys just crushed that hold.
And now Jugga are again on that back foot. They've obviously got time, having only just neutralised the point, so 2 minutes to push back in and get it back again before GAB gets the point hold. But if they do capture that facility, that 8 point, and hold on to this building, I reckon it's all over for the Jugga guys.
Yeah, I don't think there'll be any coming back after that. They were closing the gap pretty well. They were getting close. They were within 70 points, and the point capture was realistically in sight. So that would have put them to about a 50-point deficit. And that would have been a really close game from that point, because the GAB guys would be a little bit startled, probably thinking we need to recapture, we need to resecure, and the JUGA guys also thinking we need to get extra kills because the point capture points are now gone away from us, that we've already done that. So JUGA still needs to make this point their first priority.
30 there, getting taken down by Best Assassin. Guys just struggling to get into that building.
Yeah, they're sort of the GAB guys timed their push well, and I don't think it was by design. I think it might just be a bit of luck, but they really timed it so that the JUGA guys were only going to have 2 or 3 pushes in them, and they've already blown a few of those, so now they're down to probably 1 good push.
Yeah, 40 seconds left on the cap. What I'd really like to see is the JUGA guys pushing in from one of these stairs, one of these doorways under the stairs, like what Peggsy's doing here, the whole group, and pushing up onto one of the balconies and just taking control of that entire balcony, getting a few of their guys into the room, and then they can long range some of the guys on the other side.
Ooh, they've got to get on the point, and they've got a man heading towards it now. It looks like Cracker's
there, going for the point. That's
they've
very
got both
good.
balconies, JUGA. So they've done well, but they've only got 1 man on each. They need to consolidate. They had 2 men on the northern balcony, but Newt went down to flames. So they've just left Pegs standing up there. That's the weak point that GAB needs to push. But that's the side they spawn from, so they're going to be underneath that balcony, still in full view of the 2 heavies on the southern balcony that are going to be pounding them. So great push from JUGA there. Really well done.
Is now that they've got to hold on to it for 4 minutes out of the 8 minutes left in the round to capture the point. Back from GAB, who have shown that they're able to push onto the space.
Oh, and that's a really good push.
That was exactly what I was talking about, wanting to see from the JUGA guys. They pushed a couple of guys in, up onto those stairs, and took one of the balconies back.
That's right, and that's how they fed their points, but they just had that exact same thing done to them again by the GAB guys. Calipix floated up to the balcony. That distracted one of the heavies, and one of the GAB heavies pushed up behind him, took him out, and then Calipix managed to secure the balcony pretty much uncontested, and that gave them the point control. So now 30 seconds until GAB captures a point, because JUGA didn't hold it for long enough. I want to see GAB get aggressive here, push out and make them work to get into this building. Disrupt them a little bit. We see Calipix going up onto the roof. And he does just that. One of the heavies from GAB trades with him. And that's a good trade.
Nice trade there from the core and Best Assassin.
No JUGA guys available to push in on the point. That's a GAB capture. Second of the match. And that's going to hurt morale. At this point, you know that you've given them 53 points. You also know that you're not up by 25 kills to try and offset that. So JUGA, they need to get their act together, put it all behind them, and just push in onto this point as a concerted team.
Yeah.
They need that 30 points at this stage. There's no 2 ways about it. Don't play for kills. Group up as 6 on your Sundara, wait for every single man to spawn, drop back down there if you need to, go up as 6, get your set play running, and then run straight in. Know your assignments and then get the kills and get the point. We had a good kill there. It looked like Cersei managed to pick off Kilos. And also Calipix, so they've got a 2-man advantage, but now Cersei does go down to Solace. And no ability to push it from JUGA. No backup for Cersei.
Very much seeing the same thing as the first round here now. 5 minutes 40 left in the match, and JUGA still struggling to get onto that point.
The only real difference is that JUGA's probably tightened up a little bit on the amount of kills that they're giving away, so they're still sort of going 1 for 1 in the kills department, but when you're down as many points as they are, it's just not good enough. It's good, but it's not good enough. I really like seeing that the GAB guys, while they push out, they get aggressive, they shoot down to the spots that the enemy, the JUGA guys are dropping off the jump pads. As soon as they take any damage, just tuck tail, run back into the room that you know is completely secure, and regain your shields.
Did have one of the JUGA guys get onto the A point momentarily, not enough to actually click it over. That looks like it's only.
Oh, he's still there.
No,
No, it's Exocet still on the point.
Still on the point.
So they managed to
point.
secure one of the balconies, and then Calipix came up and cleared off. Cersei was up there. Newt managed to pick off Best Assassin, and that gave them enough to push in. So they really they pushed him with a one-man advantage, and I'd like to know where the rest of the GAB guys were. That probably shouldn't have happened.
Down Calipix there.
And this is what we wanted to see from the JUGA guys. Whoa, a bit of infiltrator on infiltrator action. Newt gets the best of Solace up on the balconies. Always good to go one, or put one into your opposite number. There's only one infiltrator in each team here. These guys will be out to prove who's the best.
Still really doesn't feel like the whole JUGA force is here in the room now. They do seem to be just now getting control of the point, and this is where GAB is going to come at them strong. They need to be prepared for this.
They do. They've got two guys, borderline 3, up on the northern balcony, which is the side that GAB is spawning in. I think that's a mistake. I don't think that you want your guys up on the balcony directly above where your enemy's walking in. You allow them entrance into the room, and then you can't see them until they can see you. You want to be on the opposing side and taking the long-range shots at the enemy, trying to deny them as soon as they step through the door.
Best Assassin there, land sharking the game. I think he's gotten taken out.
At the same time, they're making it work. 2 minutes and 20 seconds. They've taken half the cap time off this base because it's a full capture. And they haven't lost a guy in a little while. Cracker picks up Best Assassin, was the last kill. And they're doing pretty well.
Now, GAB here are pushing in from multiple angles. We've got Inflames and Chris here underneath the balcony on this side. We've got, who's that over there? Best Assassin, they're pushing in through the double doors. And we've got another one over there on the double doors as well.
Oh, that's a critical kill. Pegs managed to pick off Best Assassin after Best Assassin got the flank on him.
Oh, very nice.
So really just out shooting him. I think he did have a little bit of help from the other balcony, but still. Good play. And we can see that Flames has managed to get into the room because a lot of JUGA's forces are up on that balcony above where GAB spawned. They can't take him out. They do now get him down, but he peeked out and got taken down. It took that to kill him.
Not seeing the motion spotter closer to the GAB side of the room. That's what I'd really like to see. Now, GAB's is obviously almost all the way over near the JUGA Sundra there, so they know where they're coming from as soon as they push in. JUGA's there being in the center of the room, I don't know if that's a good enough placement to really give you a good idea of where they're coming from. JUGA now going for a very big push up onto that balcony there.
Yeah, GAB, I would imagine, will secure this point. Yeah, Calipix picking off, was it Exocet there? They've got the last 4 kills, the GAB guys. And they've got 3 guys on point. Real strong force.
Very big concerted effort there by GAB.
Oh, good pick off there. Cersei managing to take down Best. Didn't get the second kill. Or does he? No. There he goes down himself.
Taken down by a rocket kill there.
So he got a little bit of hurt onto Solace, but Solace managed to put 1 bolt action round into him and Keelos cleaned up the kill.
And with only 50 seconds left in the round, it looks like it's GAB's game with a 100-point lead on JUGA now.
Oh, Newt made a bit of a mistake there. He wasn't aware that Solace was up on that balcony and walked straight into him. It is a bit hard to know someone's there when they're invisible.
Oh, definitely. Here, still trying for the push, trying to get a few extra kills before the end of the match, but losing more points than they're gaining.
Yeah, GAB guys re-secured the point. They did what they needed to do. They're out to a sort of 100-point lead, and that's probably going to be all she wrote for the GAB guys picking up the victory.
Yep. And there we have it, guys. So, final scores, once I get the mouse over onto the correct screen, there we go. So, 310 to GAB with JUGA 208. Very good showing from both teams there. JUGA just not able to hold up to the onslaught that GAB were able to produce, holding onto that A point there and pushing in and taking it back from them.
That's right. Not what we expected, but I guess 100 points is really not that far of a gap when you think 2 point captures went over to GAB guys. The guys stood up that we expected to stand up. Keelos and Calipix again coming out pretty big. Best Assassin turned around a less than desirable performance from last week, and Chris and Flames doing what they needed to do. They're the front line. You want those guys to have a negative score. Same on the side of Jugga. Near Cora, lower than what you'd want, but the rest of them, that's not really shocking scores. They did well. I don't think either team can walk out of here with their head in the sand in shame. They both played very well.
And I imagine this will still not be the last time that we see either of these teams fighting against each other.
No. We'll get some finals hype going now. Jugger will be out for blood.
Oh, yes, very much so.